Welcome back to the Barca Breakdown. My name is Yusuf, and I'm here with my co-host Adam.
What's up, guys? We just had the last La Liga game before a international break. We won't be back till October 1st against Mallorca, and then we have a huge game on October 4th against Inter Milan. And we just won 3-0 against Elche, who were and are still the 20th team in La Liga. So I think we continue, right? We had Cadiz last weekend. We continue this trend of playing the worst opposition in La Liga, which is unfortunate because I wanted a little bit of a test today after a Bayern Munich game that left so many of us somewhat in despair, right? You know, the silver lining of the good performance, just that 10-minute block of, a lapse of concentration leading to us losing. But here's the last game right before the international break, Houston. And if we look back on the first, 2 months of the season, essentially, including the preseason, in La Liga, we have 6 matches, 18 goals scored, 1 goal conceded, and 5 wins in a row for Gavi's side after that 0-0 initial draw against Rayo Vallecano, I believe. Mm-hmm. So, Yus, how do you head into this international break thinking after a 3-0 win against Elche?
I'm wary just because we're on such a good run. We're going to the international break. I know we have had struggles coming back from that, but let's consider this from a different view slightly too, because we last season had trouble in our away games, but this season seems to be going fairly well, right? So could this be the trend that breaks the mold? I don't know, but I will say, after that Bayern loss, this Elche game, we still looked like we were, they're an awful team. It was kind of just...
They got their first shot on target in the 90th minute. I think the shots were 25-1.
Yeah, just awful. So, when you use this kind of game to really compare anything, it just falls flat. There's not much to go off of.
But there were some performances that I think overall we're very happy with, right? Lewandowski today scores 2 goals, gets his La Liga total up to 8, I believe, which is leading the Pichichi race, which is, again, very good. I thought the man of the match was for sure maybe Lewy, but probably Pedri, who had an astounding game again, starting in that midfield with Frenkie de Jong and Kessie, because there were some rotations made by Gavi, including Memphis Depay at left wing with Lewandowski and Dembele. And so, Pedri, Lewandowski had a good performance. Frenkie de Jong as that sole pivot today actually looks better than he had earlier in the season in that role. But like you said, we're coming up against Elche, a team who's not very good and who got a red card in the 15th minute. And so it's not a good barometer for our overall success, but it is good to go into this international break with a 3-0 win, right?
Sure. And, it also puts in perspective the times that we struggled against some of these lower-tier La Liga teams, and now it just feels like we're running them by, which is not bad at all because these are the points that we need. We're 1 point ahead of Real Madrid right before their game tomorrow against Atletico, the derby. And so, we need to take those points wherever we can get them, and we don't want to overload of a lot of our players. I know we're going to this international break, so it was kind of okay to play Lewandowski, Dembele again, but in other situations later in the season in which, our schedule is going to be much more chaotic, especially in October, we're going to have Champions League and a ton
Copa
of La
del
Liga.
Rey.
Yeah. So it's just going to be rough, and we got to rely on those smart rotations, which we did see some. We saw a 45-minute rotation in this game, right? We took off Kessie for Gavi, and then we made a couple subs down the road, and
Balde had a good game too, right?
Yeah.
He put in 2 assists.
For sure.
1 to Lewandowski, 1 to Depay. We didn't get that classic 4-goal Gavi game, unfortunately, because of a few offsides calls. But yeah, we go into the international break, and like I've always said, it's scary for me, right? Because international break has always been kind of doom and gloom for Barca. And I think everyone remembers, right, very famously under the Koeman's full season where we were neck and neck for the league title. We come back against Valladolid. We'd only score in the 91st minute because of Dembele, and that was kind of foreboding that the team wasn't in the proper form. And so I'm really hoping we can continue to see everyone at a good level. Most of our players will be out playing with their national teams. I think the big news in the press this week is that Ansu Fati will not be with Spain getting called up for this international break because he's only started 1 game. And so I'm hoping to see Fati take this time off to really recuperate and recover, because it is getting a little bit concerning, right? Yeah. That we still can't play Fati for, a full 90 minutes. hugely in support of the idea of slowly getting him into game time, but it does seem like it's tracking on a little bit slower than I was expecting, which maybe is a good thing, right? I mean, it's hard to criticize Gavi and his management of injuries when, we've had virtually no injuries for the last 2 months.
Yeah. And, we have to consider that I do like the fact that we can rotate players and still score, but we still played Dembele, Lewandowski in this situation, right? Did we have to really play them? I'm not 100% sure, but I do want to see the capabilities of some of our other forwards like Ferran Torres that can actually score and create plus 3 points in a situation where we don't have to play these starters, because again, it's going to be that much more important to get the fitness up of the players. Longevity, stamina.
Well, I mean, we did see Memphis Depay, right, come in.
Well, yes.
He's still playing a little bit of like look at me Lewy ball, right? Trying to get Gavi, I think, to give him more time. And so sometimes he kind of overdoes it when he has the ball and is trying to like really wow the manager. But he did score a great goal today, again, showing his like physical strength, his ability to stay upright with the defender on him, do a nice turn, and then put the ball away. So I was happy to see Depay get in there, and then I continue to be impressed, one, by Eric Garcia looking good, and then two, Koundé, right? Even though we're playing him as a right back oftentimes, when he slid into that center back role today, I was really impressed. I feel like he continues to be, one of the best signings of the offseason. Rafinha slid in as a sub, and it's not exactly firing on all cylinders for Rafinha yet. I don't know what's happening. I think he's been a little bit upset that he's not getting goals, and so he's been taking some like outside of the box, right on that top right area of the box, shots that just don't have a high percentage conversion rate, and I feel like he's trying to force it a little bit too much. Yeah. But this is why we have these lower teams in La Liga that we can play against and hopefully learn something. It's just unfortunate again that they got a red card so early, because it didn't feel like it was really a game.
Yeah.
Right?
It doesn't help us gauge our performance. It doesn't lead us anywhere. It's just like our players are much better than their players. Was it really Javi's tactical decisions that really won this game? I can't say that, because they were down to 10 men for 75 minutes, right? So it's like, okay, where do you really draw the line? But that also goes to say we've had situations like that where we were in the advantage and couldn't capitalize on those moments. We saw the first goal with the cross from Balde that went past Memphis Depay, and then you had Lewandowski slide in there. I think that is one of the best things about Lewy recently, is
positioning.
That he's positioning and willing to make those runs and get into situations where even if he doesn't touch the ball, he's there to cause some defensive distortion. And it panned out for that first goal, and then we opened it up, and it was just a run for our money after that, right? And I think Frankie De Jong also did a very good job with facilitating and passing, while Kessie seemed to be running into the box a little bit more. And then once I think he got subbed out for Gavi. Gavi then took on that,
just role he always does, right? Which is he's always available, kind of in that like half space between the center back and the opposing left back, just running up and then crossing it inside to Lewandowski for a few times, and then also to Depay. And so things are looking good, right? Like it's hard to be upset when we just continue to run wild in La Liga. And I think there's a huge game tomorrow, Real Madrid versus Atletico Madrid, which hopefully we can see both teams draw, which would be, putting us fairly firmly up at number 1 in La Liga. And then I think all of our eyes have to be forward on Inter Milan, right? How do we win at home and away against Inter Milan? Because if we do that, we'll be second in the group. No worries about it. If we draw one of the games, if we lose one, it's going to get really nervy. And I don't think there's enough electric shock in the world to get me back to life after seeing like all of Twitter and Instagram just rain on Barca if we don't make it to the knockout stages of the Champions League. So that should be our full focus. We come back October 1st against Mallorca, and then October 4th against Inter Milan. So let us know in the comments what you guys thought about today's game, how you think the international break will affect us, and we will see you after the next video. Thanks,
guys.